So whenever we simplify, most of the time it's about combining like terms. So 5a and negative 2a. I like to write it like this, 5a minus 2a, because most of the time, many of us forget the negative sign in front of the numbers, and that's when we make many mistakes. So let's go ahead and let's subtract 5a minus 2. That would be negative 3a. Now, let's go ahead and add 3 plus 7, and 3 plus 7 is simply 10. So this is our final answer simplified. Now here's another one. 3, 2x minus 4 minus 5, x plus 1. Alright, so in this problem here, we need to distribute. So let's distribute 3 times 2, which is 6x. 3 times 2x. Now that will be negative. 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. Now be careful when distributing over here, because over here always take the sign that is beside the number. So that will be negative 5 times x will give you negative 5x. Negative 5 times 1 will give you negative 5. A simple way is to find the variable. Look, these two variables are like twins. They look the same. So let's combine these two. That will be 6x minus 5x. So 6 minus 5 will simply be x. Now, negative 12 and negative 5. So negative 12 and negative 5 are being added. So that will increase to negative 17. Now pause the video and try solving these by yourself by distributing. I'll go ahead and solve it, and you can check the final answers if we match. And if we don't, maybe I did a mistake or you did a mistake. So you let me know down in the comments if we got the same answers. Now let's distribute 2 times x. Well, that would be 2x. Now let's distribute 2 times negative 3. That will be minus 6 or negative 6. Now always take the sign. I like to circle it, so in this way we cannot, or I don't make any mistakes. So that will be a positive 4x, and then 4 times 5 will be positive 20. Now let's go ahead and look at the variables. I always like to add the variables with the consonants first. So 2 plus 4x will be 6x, and now negative 6 and positive 20. So we will minus 6 from this 20, so we will end up with positive 14. This is our final answer. Let's distribute negative 3. Circle it in this way so you don't make any mistakes. Negative 3 times 2x will give you negative 6x, and then negative times a negative gives you a positive, and that will be positive 12. Then we have positive 5, that will be plus 5x or positive 5x, and that will give you back the same number. Now let's go ahead and so this will be negative 6 plus 5. Well, that will be a negative x, and 12 plus 5 will be positive 17. Alright, let's keep practicing. That's the only way we can learn maths. Here's another problem. 8x minus 6 divided by 2 plus 3x. 5x minus 2 minus 3x plus 4. Alright, so what's the first thing we need to do in the first problem? Look over here, division sign. So this here is telling us that we need to kind of distribute that 2 is dividing all of this here. So we need to simplify, guys. We are doing simplification over here. So we take 8x, this is how I like to do it. put the 2 here and this 2 as well. Negative 6 divided by 2. Now let me simplify this here. So let's go ahead and simplify this one. Will be, so 8 divided by 2, that's 1, that's 4. That will be 4x, and negative 6 divided by 2. Whenever you divide by a negative, our final answer has to be a negative, so that will be negative 3. 2 goes into 6 3 times. And now let's bring down this number over here, which is 3x. Let's go ahead and find like terms. 4x and the positive 3x are like terms, so let's add them. That would be 7x, and we are left with the negative 3. This is our final answer. Did you get the same answer as I did? I hope so. All right, let's go to the next problem. Let's distribute 5x minus 10. That will be negative 3, and this one will be negative 12. Let's go ahead and find like terms over here and over here. So that will be 2x, and this one now and this one will increase to negative 22. That's our final answer. Let me know down in the comments if we got the same answers, because I might do mistakes as well, so it's good if we have the same answer. Alright, here are 2 problems. Pause the video and try solving them by yourself. I'll go ahead and solve it. Alright, so let's distribute over here. That would be 2x plus 6. And let's distribute this 4. That will be 4x and minus 20, guys. Positive times a negative will give you a negative. Now let's go ahead and find the like terms. Here we have 2 like terms. Let's add them, and that will give us 6x minus 14. Alright, let's go ahead and distribute a negative 4 to x and negative 2. That would be negative 4x. Negative times a negative will give you positive 8. Now take the positive 6 and distribute it. That would be 6x plus 6. Now let's go ahead and find like terms. Over here we have like terms. That will be 2x, and let's add 8 plus 6 will give us 14. This is our final answer. Alright, how about this one over here? Half 6x minus 8 plus 1 over 4, 4x plus 12. How would you solve this one here? Can you solve it? These kinds of problems always give students hard time solving it, and like always, everyone is afraid of fractions. Alright, let's go ahead and distribute this one. So half, or 1 times 6 over 2 will simply give you 6x over 2. And let's distribute now to the negative 8. That will give you, well, negative 8 over 2. And now we can go ahead and simplify before moving on. So 2 into 6 is 3x, and 2 into 4 will give you minus or negative 4. As you see, it's very simple when you break down the problems like this. Now let's take this one and do the same. Let's take here, let's distribute. That will be 4x over 4. And then let's take the positive 12 and distribute, so that will be over 4. Now let's simplify, guys. So this is all about simplifying, guys. So let's go ahead and simplify. We will end up with a positive x, and here we will end up with positive 3. Now, as you see now, the problem got very simple. So let's go ahead and find like terms. 2 like terms over here. 3x plus x will give you 4x. And negative 4 plus 3, we will end up with a negative 1. This is our final answer. Now let's go ahead and distribute, guys, but this time it's not a 1, it's a 5. So let's multiply 5 times 6. 5 times 6 will give you 30x over 6, and 5 times 3 will give you 15 over 6. Guys, let's go ahead and simplify. 6 into 30 will give you 5x, and 6 into 15. We cannot, but we can find a number that can divide both, which is 3. That will be 2. And 3 into 15 goes 5 times, and we will end up with 5 over 2. Now let's go ahead and distribute a negative 1 over 3. So as you see, negative and a positive will give you a negative, so that will be negative 3x over 3. Negative and a negative will give you a positive, so that will be 9 over 3. Let's go ahead and simplify. We will end up with negative x, and this one will end up with positive 3. Let's go ahead and find like terms. 5x and negative x will give you 4x. And now this one over here, as you see, we are combining like terms, so it means that we're adding or subtracting. In this case, we're adding, so we need to add them. So let's take this 2 and add them. So let's find the LCM. So let's find the LCM, which will be 2, right? I can put this over 1, and let's divide here over 2, and here over 2. We're kind of multiplying over here, and let's multiply 2 over here and 2 over here. And let me show you this. So over here, as you see, we can cancel this one here, so we'll end up as 1, but 2 times 1 over here will give you 2. So as you see, we'll end up with 2, and over here, well, 2 times 3 will give you 6, and 2 times 1 will give you 2, which is the same denominator over here. We don't need to write it twice. Now, we will end up with 5 over here, which is positive 5, and then over here we'll end up with, and over here we'll end up with 6. Now, let's finish simplifying the number by adding these two over here. So 5 plus 6 will give you 11, so we will end up with 11 over 2. And if you want it in decimal place, we can go ahead and we can write it as 5.5. So this is our final answer. Check if we got the same answers, guys. If we do, it's a high probability that our problem is correctly solved. Alright, here are two problems. Let's try solving it. Now, first we need to look inside the brackets over here and over here as well. So, what's the first step? So here's where a lot of students make a lot of mistakes. I've seen it so many times because they all forget that here, over here, there is number 1. So number 1. So what I like to do is to rewrite this problem like this, because I know there's a number 1 over there. And that's where a lot of us will make those mistakes. Now, let's distribute this problem over here now. So let's write down 3 2x, and now negative x and positive 4. Now let's look inside the brackets again. Is there something we can simplify inside of here before we distribute? Yes, there is. The 2x and the minus or negative x can be combined, and we will get simply an x plus 4. And now we can go and distribute to get our final answer, which will be 3x plus 12. Perfect. Now, what about this problem over here? Let's take a look. Let's find like terms. There's nothing else to distribute. See, a over here and the a over here. These are like terms. We have the b over here and the b over here. These are like terms. So we can go ahead and combine them. So the 2a minus 4a simply gives you negative 2a. And over here we have plus 3 and plus 5. So that will give us plus 8b. Now guys, this is the same as 8b minus 2a in case you don't like the negative to be at the front. Now what about this one? This is very similar to the previous one. So first, let's find the variables m, and m. So what I like to do is solve it in pairs. It's easier and it's less complicated to make mistakes. So let's take the 6m plus the 3m. That will give us 9m. Now let's take this other m, which is minus 9m. So look over here. 9 minus 9 simply gives us 0m. But 0 is simply 0, means nothing, so we don't need to write it down. Let's go ahead and add more like terms, 2n and 4n. 2n plus 4n will give us 2n. That's our final answer. Now here's a problem that many of you might get wrong or get confused with whenever we add or subtract like terms. I've seen some students add this and this over here, which is completely wrong. So guys, remember like terms, look over here, x squared. This is simply x squared, so we need to try to find a like term that looks the same. Over here, x squared. These are like terms. We cannot add x to the second power with x. So now 3x squared minus x squared. So that will give us 2x squared. Now let's find more like terms. Do we have x and x? Yes, we do. So let's go ahead and add or subtract. In this case, it's 2x minus 4x. We will end up with negative 2x. Now this one over here is a constant, so we don't have any constants, so it's simply plus 5, and this is our final answer. Now try solving these. Now first, guys, be careful whenever we do these kinds of problems. We need to distribute the x first to both numbers. So that will be x squared minus 3x. Now this distributed 2 to the x and then to the 3. That will be 2x minus 6. Now let's go ahead and find like terms. Are these two like terms? Yes or no? No, they're not. Be careful. So this one over here will simply remain as x squared, and now over here we have two like terms. We'll end up with negative x, and simply this one is by itself. Now we have our final answer. Now look at this problem. Should we do this first, or should we do this first? Well, it doesn't matter which one you do. Well, for me, I think it'll be easier if I do it this way, because I'll know this will end up with x squared, then I'll just do it here plus 3x, then here will be minus 3x, and then 3 times 3, but it's a negative times a positive will give me negative 9. Now, as you see over here, like terms, before we distribute the negative 2, this will cancel, end up to 0. Now we will have x squared minus 9, negative 2. We distribute now the 2, and we will end up with negative 2x squared positive 18 as our final answer. Now try solving this problem. Well, first inside the parentheses there's nothing, but here we have a division, and here we have this 3 over here. So what do you think we need to do over here? So we'll divide this by negative 3 and this one by negative 3. Now 6 divided by negative 3 will give me negative 2x, and negative divided by a negative, whenever we divide two negative, it gives us a positive, and this will be 1. Now let's take the 4 over here, and now let's combine like terms, this one over here and this one over here. So that will be 2x plus 1 as our final answer. Right. Now, what about this one? This one looks pretty hard, looks very hard, but let's break it down easily. Now, first thing we need to do is distribute. We can distribute over here. So let me just go ahead and distribute. We can start with this one, and then we can move on to this one. Don't worry about the denominators. Always work with the numerator first, and don't worry about the denominator yet. So let's distribute over here. This will be negative 3x plus 6, and over here we will have 8x plus 2 over 5. So let's go ahead and find the LCM, and let's put a 1 over here, and as you know, the LCM will be 5. So I'll put 5 over here and 5 over here. This way, I like to do it this way, so this way I will not make silly mistakes. So now I can cancel these to 5, but this will be 1. But remember, 1 times 5 will give you 5. And the same over here, 1 times 5 will give me 5. So we will end up having LCM of 5. Now we can go ahead and distribute this 5 over here, which will give you negative 15 plus 30. Now let's bring down these, 8x plus 2. Now we can go ahead and combine like terms, this one and this one. Now negative 15x plus 8x should give us negative 7x. 30 plus 2 gives us plus 32. Now let's bring down our denominator, and this has been fully simplified. Right, here's another one. I hope you're enjoying these problems because these are problems you might see on a final exam. Alright, let's look over here. What's the first thing we should do over here? Well, inside the parentheses or the brackets, over here, let's distribute the negative 4. Let's solve for this. So let me rewrite this. Alright, so let me rewrite this over here. And let this distribute negative 4 times 2, negative 8x minus 4 over 3. And now, as you see, we haven't finished working inside the bracket, so let's keep working now. As you see here, we have the denominators. Nothing else we can do with this over here. So over here, let's put a 1 and let's solve. As you know, the LCM will be 3. This will cancel, and 3 and 3. Okay, so we will end up with, alright, so we will end up with a denominator of 3, and 3 times 3 is 9x, and let's rewrite 8x minus 4. But don't forget the brackets because we're not finished yet. And don't forget this 2 over here. Now let's go ahead and combine 9x minus 8x. Let's combine these two like terms. We'll end up with x minus 4 over 3. But we have the 2 over here, which is 2 minus. Now guys, look at this minus sign over here. We have a 1 over here. So let's go ahead and distribute this. So we'll have 2, that will be negative x plus 4 over 3. These are all together. So now I need some space to finish solving this problem. So over here, guys, so over here, this is what we finally have. We have 2 minus x plus 4 over 3, guys. So this one over here is supposed to be over 1. So let's distribute, and over here let's find the LCM, and then we'll distribute. So let's cancel, and this one will distribute over here. So we will end up with a denominator of 3. Now 3 times 2 is 6. We will have minus x and plus 4. Now we have two like terms over here, this one and this one over here. So here comes our final answer, which will be negative x plus 10 over 3. This is our final answer. Alright, don't forget to like the video and let me know down in the comments What are your thoughts? I would love to read them. Thank you for watching.